In this video, we'll demonstrate a specific example of the use of MapLab reports for Exchange Server. Our task is to predict the growth of the email messages storages to evaluate the effectiveness of the use of system resources and to develop practical recommendations. For example, to calculate the capacity of a new backup system or in the context of preparation for the migration. There can be quite a lot of prerequisites for this typical task. First of all, we need to evaluate the Exchange Data Warehouse growth rate. For this purpose, we use the size of Exchange stores by date report, showing the total daily growth of Exchange data storage. Uncheck the start date to receive a report for the maximum available period. A report is being generated. The viewer starts and the report is being loaded. The report is generated and we can go straight to the last page of the report to view data in the form of a chart. The chart displays data for 2 years, and we see that the total size of data storage is increased from 63 to 85 gigabytes. That is 35% of the whole period or 18% per year. This report answers to our basic questions. Now we know the data storage growth rate. We can try to understand what is behind this growth. To do this, we will build a report on the growth of the Exchange data storage, increase in size of Exchange storage. We will generate this report for the last 2 months. We are interested only in those data storages that have grown significantly over this period, up to 500 megabytes and more. So we use visual filter. The storage size is greater than 500 megabytes for this report. And there's only one repository left on the list. It is the email messages storage, and its size is 4 gigabytes. Within 2 months, it has increased by 2 gigabytes. Obviously, it grows either because of the increase in the number of mailboxes or due to the increase in size of mailbox. We have a number of reports to study the growth of mailboxes. If we have investigated several repositories, then we could take advantage of the mailbox attachment size by mailbox storage report, showing the quota of attachments. But as we analyze only one repository, we can immediately generate a report that shows how much space is occupied by files of different types. We will immediately use the filter to show the data for our repository only. Change the sort order of data in the report. The files must be sorted according to the space occupied in the repository. What strikes the eye? Media files occupy a significant amount of space. Only MP3 files occupy more than 4 gigabytes. If the email usage policy prohibits the storage of media files, we can delete them, freeing up this part of the repository, which is more than 10%. We can also know that the quota of Office documents, Word, Excel, PowerPoint formats in the mailbox is also quite large, more than 10% of the repository. It is clear that email in the organization is used for the document circulation also. We can investigate this phenomenon with the help of the statistical report showing the distribution of letters in size. Using the filter, we retain only messages sent within the organization. We export this report to Excel, and now we can calculate that the messages larger than 100 kilobytes have created more than 50% of the traffic and evidently occupy the proper space in the user's mailbox. We can significantly reduce the volume and traffic using SharePoint and similar systems. Also, it is necessary to pay attention to such standard folders as delete and spam. We should find out what percentage of our data storage is occupied by them. We can centrally define policies for managing the size of these folders on the server. Observing these figures, we can conclude that the organization has no policy for these cases, and the implementation of an appropriate policy will allow us to reduce the data storage size by a few percent. Finally, we can generate a report showing the growth of mailboxes. After sorting them by size, we can identify the largest mailboxes. Perhaps their owners violate the rules of email usage. By changing the sorting type, we also identify the fastest growing mailboxes in percentage or in absolute size. So during this short study that took us 5 minutes, we got the numbers to support as reasonable forecasts of the size of data storages. We found the reservers to reduce the size of repositories by 15 up to 20%, have analyzed the structure of content repositories and demonstrated 6 out of 170 reports of the product. Thank you for your attention.